Hi everybody, it's Lucinda from Montrico. Everybody knows that I love Manchelopi. We've got such beautiful array of colors from the natural to the colored. And today I'm here to talk to you about knitting it as a one ply. I've shown you before how you could split it. We'll do a little review on that again. But for now, I'm going to talk about a new design that's coming up from the Petite Knitter. So I'm just blown away by this design. I'm actually testing it and my yoke is done. I split the sleeves and I'm so excited about it. And it's been a journey learning to knit with the one ply. This is the sweater that I'm working on. I'm using Manchelopi in the mint color. I'm using it in the dark gray, and I'm using a mohair held double from Art Yarns. So I also swatched on another piece, and this one I used, this is going to be similar to the colors that the Petite Knitter used, and we have these 3 strands in this swatch. Of course, I should have swatched in the round, so there's a little bit of a wonky stranded knitting, but basically you get to see that these 3 yarns will work very well together. The pattern is written with the Manchelopi held single. I have mainly just used it as a double, or I've used it with a mohair in the past, and I was a little apprehensive. I was excited to embark on the journey of knitting it single, but I've got to tell you, I was a little nervous thinking it's going to break all the time. And quite frankly, I broke it once in this whole thing, and I think it's when I was trying to show it to somebody versus when I was knitting it. I found that using it rolled up in a little ball and in a wooden bowl, knitting bowl, that it was the best. I don't like it to come out of here because I'm afraid that it could break it, but also I just let it come out from the top and it works really well. This bowl is from Trickery, and I'll put a link to their website at the end of this video. So first off is I want to show you how is the best way to split the Manchelopi ball. I now need to use a new Manchelopi ball, and so that's what I'm going to show you how to split it. So first, let's take a look at these strands. This, when I'm unrolling it from the cake, is held double. And now I need to split this in order for it to be knit as a single. One of the things that I do is when I first started with this one is it was a nice Saturday night. I knew I was going to cast on, but before that, I just poured myself a glass of wine and decided that's the day I'm going to split. And then the next day I'll cast on, just because it's 2 different activities, knitting and casting on. So the first thing I want to show you is how these unroll very nicely. And you can see that it's going to be easy to unroll them. What I do is once that I've got a bit of this undone, I start making a little ball. One of the things that I would caution you with is not to wind it too tightly because you don't want to stretch it out. Any stretching out of the Manchelopi will make it too thin, and you'll be able to notice a difference in your knitting. So I've got a little ball going here. I'm just going to lay that on top of the cake, and then I'm going to do it with the second one. So now I've got 2 little balls, and I'm going to unwind a little more. So as you can see, this is where the wine will come in handy because you've got quite a lot of yardage here. And so then you will be able to have a nice, lovely evening. So I spread out and I separate some more. And I just keep winding. Put something on Netflix and you're good to go for the evening. Another thing that I will do is once I have these balls a little bit bigger than this, what I do is I just unravel one at a time, and you can see the way that it comes undone. So I'll show you that right now. So if you see here, I'm just going to untangle my little balls. They shouldn't tangle, but doing a video makes it a little bit harder. So this one is the one that I'm going to unwind right now. So I'm going to just undo it. I'm going to continue to roll. And right now, right here, there's a point where they cross and it's hard to keep unwinding. I don't want to insist on doing it, so I'm going to take a pause. I will wind these, and then I will unwind this other one. But so now I'll just undo the other one a little bit. And I'll do the unwind of the other ball as much as I can until I get to the cross. As you see, it starts to become easier the more you do, as they, although held together when you buy it, they actually do want to come apart, and it's not that hard. So the other thing that I do is usually when I get towards the end of the cake, I start to get a little impatient. Maybe that's when the wine runs out. But basically, I then involve Gilles and say, hey, Gilles, can you help me? The hard thing when you're starting at first is if you have a spouse or a friend helping you out, they may tug on it a little bit more than you. So that's maybe not the best advice. But once it becomes easier to separate them, just like that, you just do your little balls and you keep going until you've got them all done. When I was doing the stranded knitting part and I needed just a little bit of the brown, I did a bit at a time because I didn't want to keep my ball fully and single because I knew I wouldn't use it for the whole sweater. So here you see, you can just keep winding and there you go. So a few tips on knitting with it single ply is right now I'm in the stockinette portion of it, and you just want to go gently. You don't want to pull or tug, and you don't want to add any undue stress to the fabric. It actually is quite solid when it's knit up, but it's a little fragile when you're knitting. I find, as I said in my first video about Manchelopi, is that it really helps us do a little bit more mindful knitting. It helps us slow down, take a deep breath. So this is not going to be a quick and super fast project, but some things come that are wonderful when you're just meditating and you're knitting one strand of the Manchelopi. The one thing to remember that if it breaks, you can just put it together, rub it. You don't really even need to spit splice it because it's actually a little bit like Velcro. Just wind a little bit like this, rub against the two, and it'll all work out great. If you guys have any questions about knitting one ply, it's really an adventure. I love that the Petite Knitter has encouraged knitters to try it. I think it's really an amazing experience and I'm all for it. So it just makes for a lightweight, airy garment and is just really, just heavenly how lightweight this can be. So I thank you for joining me. Leave any questions below.